Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel, Kitchen Notes from Nancy. If you're new here, I'd like to welcome you to our neighborhood, and I hope you decide to subscribe before you leave today. And if you're already a part of our neighborhood, I'd like to greet you with the customary, hey neighbor. In today's video, I am going to be making one of the most requested things this Thanksgiving season. And I'm going to show you how I make my truly southern and delicious giblet gravy. This gravy is full of flavor and just adds so much to your holiday table. So, if you want to learn how to make an amazing giblet gravy, all you got to do is stay tuned. And hey, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button. Let's hop right into it. Alrighty peeps, y'all asked, I'm delivering. So now I'm about to show you how to make giblet gravy. And I know there are a lot of things on this counter, so we're gonna hop right into it. Now typically when you get a turkey or a chicken, you're gonna get a pack on the inside. And in that pack, it contains what's called the giblets. Usually it's the neck, the liver, the gizzard, sometimes the heart. But today I don't have a whole turkey. So I'm going to show you what you can do. You can actually buy these things at the store. So we're going to be using some chicken gizzards. These are chicken gizzards. We're going to be using some chicken livers. And then we are going to be using some turkey necks. So that's going to be the meat base for our gravy. So let's look at the other ingredients that we are going to need. And giblet gravy is somewhat of a labor of love. It takes a little while. I have 2 stalks of celery. I have some green onion. I have a medium-sized yellow onion. Some garlic. A bell pepper. If you are from the South, if you've seen my dressing recipe, you already know in the comments, there's some back and forth about why I use egg. I use egg because I'm from Alabama and that's how my mama did it. So, my giblet gravy also has egg in it, okay? You're going to need some flour. This is 2 tablespoons. We may need a little bit more towards the end to make our roux. To make our slurry. We're going to make a slurry for this gravy. This here is turkey stock that I made. If you haven't seen that video yet, go check it out because good giblet gravy starts with good turkey stock. To help make it somewhat creamy towards the end, we're going to use a little bit of half and half, and then our seasonings. So I have a bouillon cube here. I have my favorite seasoning, Slap Your Mama. You know that I'm not really about to make anything without using that. You can omit cayenne pepper. I'm going to use a little bit in my gravy. If spice is not your thing, just omit that. We have some garlic powder, onion powder, some thyme, rosemary, ground black pepper, some salt. I'm using the pink Himalayan salt right now. And then we have some Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poultry Magic. And I'll leave a link down in the description bar if you want to order one of these. Alright, so we're going to clear this off and then start the preparation of our meats. Okay. So I put some of my necks and livers and gizzards in here, and I went and washed them really good. You want to make sure that you get all the blood out of them because you don't want any blood in your gravy. So you want to make sure they're rinsed real good. So for my necks, I like to use the really skinny ones because even though you can eat them, there's not a lot of meat on them, so I like to use those in my gravy. So I have my pot here and we're going to start putting our things in the pot. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my turkey necks in the pot. Now your gizzards are tough. They're not like livers. Livers are really soft. You can cook them. They're not, I mean, you can cook them in relatively no time and you're good to go. But a gizzard is hard and chewy. So what I like to do is, prior to boiling, some people like to do this after they boil them. I like to go ahead and get it done because it cuts down on the cooking process. But I am going to slice each one of my gizzards into, you know, fairly small pieces like you see me doing here. And I'm going to zoom in so you can really see what I'm doing. All right, so here is a gizzard and I'm just cutting it into little bite-sized pieces. And then you can even hear, because these are not frozen, that cut you hear is this knife slicing through like the gristle, the tough parts of the gizzard. So I'm just gonna keep chopping these up real fine and putting them in the pot. And then once I get done, I'll be back with you. So I got my turkey necks and my gizzards in the pot. There are a good bit of them. I cut them up into little bite-sized pieces. Now I'm gonna take 4 chicken livers. I'm just using 4, and chicken livers are much more tender than gizzards. So I'm just gonna kind of slice them a little bit. I don't want to pulverize them too much because they are going to disintegrate pretty much as they're boiled. And they just help to add a depth to your gravy. That's what the liver does. It adds a depth of flavor to your gravy. So we're going to get that. Over into our pot. So here we go. Next thing we need to do is get our veggies ready. So I'm gonna get that ready and then we're gonna go over to the stove. Alright, so here we are. We have everything chopped up. I got my onion, bell pepper, green onion, and also celery. And now we're gonna head to the stove. So here I have the gizzards, livers, and turkey necks. I'm about to add all of those vegetables that I cut up. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of garlic. A teaspoon of garlic. The liquids that I'm going to add 32 ounces of my turkey stock, and then I'm going to add 32 ounces of water and the bouillon cube. The turkey stock is what's gonna really amp this up. Alright, so bouillon cube time, and I'm using one of those jumbo Knorr bouillon cubes. It's like 2 times the size of one. And then we're gonna add that other 32 ounces of water. And as this cooks down, that bouillon cube will dissolve. And we're gonna go ahead and start adding some flavor to this before we let it just start to boil. Going in with a little cayenne pepper. Garlic powder. And for measurements, I would tell you start at about 1/4 of a teaspoon, work your way up. Onion powder. Thyme. used fresh thyme in that turkey stock. If you haven't checked that out, then you don't want to miss it. Go in with a little bit of rosemary. I don't like rosemary as much as I like thyme. Gonna do some black pepper. Some of that Chef Paul Poultry Magic. We're gonna go in with just a little salt because that bouillon has salt in it. The Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poultry Magic has salt in it, and Slap Your Mama has salt in it. So I'm just gonna do a little bit for now, and then I'll check it as we progress. And then I'm gonna go in with my Slap Your Mama. I'm gonna give everything a good stir. And I'll see y'all in about an hour and 15 minutes. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put a top on this, and I'll see y'all in about an hour and 15 minutes. Again, this is on a medium-high heat, and I'm just going to let it boil here. All right, so we've been going about an hour and a half on medium heat, and you can see how it has cooked down. The vegetables have gotten soft, and I checked it right before we came in, and I just ate me a little piece of the gizzard, and they're tender, and that's what you want. So now I'm about to fish the necks out, because we're not going to leave the bone in. We're going to strip the meat off of these necks. If we pull a little of the vegetables out, it is okay. We're just going to put them right back in. Alright, now we're going to go over to the counter, and I'm going to just keep letting this boil, cover it back up real quick, while we take the meat off the necks and also crush our eggs. All right, we're gonna have to let these necks cool for a minute, so I'm gonna sit those to the side. I'm gonna put my eggs over here. And if you've watched my dressing, my potato salad, chicken salad, any of that, you already know. I just take my fork. Oh yeah, and in the chicken salad video, I had asked about eggs because mine always give me such a hard time. I did use the tip of adding more salt. I didn't have any distilled vinegar, so when I go to the store, I'm gonna get that because I still need to make deviled eggs. But I feel like they peeled a little bit better this time, just a little bit. So we're getting there. I'm gonna keep trying. All right, so I just give these a nice little crush. Now, if you don't like eggs, you can omit it, but Southern Giblet gravy has eggs in it. Every Southern cook I've ever seen puts eggs in their Giblet gravy. My folks do, so I do. You already know how I get down. All right, so there's that. Alright, so now we're just gonna see if we can get some of this meat off of here without burning our hands, and if it's still too hot, we will give it a break. Because we don't, like I said, we don't want the bones. We just want the meat, and we wanted the flavor from it cooking in the broth. I use the skinny necks because I don't like to eat them because there isn't much meat on them. But I might should have used the fat neck, but I'm gonna get a little something. see. These little fingernails come in handy. I'm gonna finish doing this and then I'll be back. So here's the turkey that I pulled off of the bones. And here is my slurry. Initially, I told you I was going to use 2 tablespoons of flour. I ended up using 4 because of the amount of broth I have over here. So now we're going to head over to the stove and we're going to finish off this delicious giblet gravy. So I'm turning this back up to a medium heat so I can get a boil on it. And I'm going to go ahead and dump, oh, that's a little bone, left a bone in there. Don't want to do that. I'm going to dump my meat back in. Alright, I'm gonna give it a stir. Now, I'm gonna start adding some of the slurry, and I'm just gonna add about half of it, and then figure out how much I need to thicken this up. I'm probably going to need all of it. That's why I went ahead and doubled it. And as it starts to boil again, it's gonna thicken up. Alright, I went ahead and put all of it in. Also, while I wait for it to start boiling, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little taste so I can see what I need to do for my seasonings. Ooh, that's good. All right, but it does need, I don't know, it is good. Like, it has the right amount of heat to it. It has the right amount of salt to it. The flavors on this are absolutely out of the park. Like, that is some good gravy. I'm gonna go in with some of my half and half. Some people use evaporated milk. You can use heavy cream. You can use whatever it is you want to use. I'm using a little bit of half and half because I had it and I needed to use it up. Now, that is going to lighten up your gravy a little bit. It's fine. But it is going to make it silky smooth. Now it's time to add that show enough southern component, that egg. So if you don't want egg, just don't put it in there. But you know, it wouldn't be southern giblet gravy without that egg. Now, here's some things that you can do. If you want your gravy less chunky, I diced up the chicken gizzards and stuff with my knife. But if you want your gravy less chunky than mine, then you could actually take your food processor and run half of this through the food processor and then leave the other half kind of chunky. And then that'll help get your gravy nice and smooth. So if you want a smoother gravy, you can do that. As a matter of fact, I think I am going to do it just to let you see how that looks. So here I have my blender. I'm just going to use my blender. You can use a food processor, whichever one you want. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to ladle some of my dressing in here. I mean, some of my gravy. And then we're going to blend it and get that nice smooth consistency. And I left some of it in here because I don't want to take it all the way down. here goes. And now what I'm going to do is add this back to our pot. Be very, very careful because this is hot. All right. And you can see how much I left in here. I told you I still left a few chunks because I do like chunky gravy. But now we're just going to take this. Pour it back in. And ladies and gentlemen, you have some delicious giblet gravy. This is literally the bomb.com. You can't beat it over some gravy. I mean, over some dressing, over some turkey, over some chicken. You just can't beat it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so I can get it out to you. Again, thank y'all so much for the support. Don't forget to like this video. Liking helps me out more than you know. Comment below, are you going to make the giblet gravy, or are you going to make my brown gravy, or are you going to make both of them? I'm eager to know which one you are going to make. So definitely let me know. And until next time, bye neighbors.